He looked at that word on the piece of paper, and it looked very strange to him. But there it was. His own hand had written the word aggression. But he started arguing with himself. He said, that doesn't fit. I'm not an aggressive person. As a matter of fact, I'm a little bit shy. I'm pretty quiet. I'm not aggressive. I don't go out and hurt people. I'm not vocal a whole lot. I'm very quiet. So how does the word aggression seem to be a solution to the fact that I'm not living my own life? I had better investigate this much deeper, as we all should. Aggression. Perhaps I'd better take a new look at that word and see why I wrote it down. He looked at it, he looked at himself, and he took that word with him wherever he went. And again he was shocked. The second shock, the first one being that he was living a borrowed life, an imposed upon life. And the second one that he was indeed a very aggressive human being. Aggressive? He was aggressive, he understood, because he was very insecure. Insecure, of course he was. He knew it. And the medals did nothing for him that they gave him at the scientific conference. And all the references to magazines to him did nothing for him. I am aggressive because I'm insecure. Now what does that mean? It means that my mind, he said to himself, is working overtime and triple time to keep itself occupied with thoughts about himself. Even though he sensed the emptiness of the fame, he still craved it. He was in a contradiction there. At the same time, he began to feel that it did nothing for him. He saw that he wanted it. He saw that he was aggressive in small things. And can you break into the story right now with me and see where you're aggressive in ways that you don't know? When will you leave other people alone? Now you just stop and think about that. When will you leave other people alone to live their life the way they want to? You had better examine very scientifically your interference with other people's lives because you want something for yourself out of it. Even doing things for people is aggression masquerading as generosity. Did it ever occur to you that maybe the other person wants his mind and his life to himself? No. You won't see it as long as you're scared. You don't want to see it as long as you are unconsciously aggressive and want the whole world to want to use the whole world for your own benefit. Use that other person, use that organization, use anything to try to push back your feeling of fear, of insecurity. He saw this, and he saw that it wasn't apparent to other people. He accepted the awards very gracefully and very modestly. At the same time, he knew he was greedy for more of them, because if they should ever stop, who would he be? They were keeping him alive. That was his aggressiveness. And I want you, don't you miss the main point of what I said a couple of minutes ago. Do you know how to be a genuinely nice person? Shall I tell you how? Please, please leave people alone. They're not longing for your company as you think they are. You want their company for your benefit. Do you have the honesty and the courage and the decency to see that? And if you're offended by what I'm saying, you had better then think 10 times about what I just said, because your happiness is at stake. You're not happy as long as you're aggressively going out, trying to distract yourself and trying to get things from other people, hoping that in some way they will echo back the statement that you are okay, that you're wanted, that you're desirable, that you're pleasant, that you're nice, that your company is good. When you can leave other people alone to live their lives, then you will live your own life and not before. Now, I've told you, and that scientist is still on the investigative track, and we'll get back to him in a minute. But you had better see how your insecurity and your attempts to solve your insecurity in the wrong way is keeping you in that state. So the word aggression, mental aggression, emotional aggression, the aggression of desires, the aggression of vanity, of subtle vanities. That was the second shock, to see himself as he actually was. He said, how interesting. Here are two things I've found out about myself over my period of scientific investigation. I wonder if there's something else. Well, that's what a good scientist always says, right? I wonder what's next. What's beyond the next door? I'm not living my own life, and the cause of that is my unconscious aggression, so that I lose myself in activities and lose myself in people, lose myself in thoughts and in cravings. I wonder what's next. He studied that to see what was next, if indeed there was something else. And he didn't even make an assumption that there was, but he investigated more. He searched more for the solution. Because if I can cure my aggression, I can begin to live my own life, because I won't be causing my wrong life to be lived. And he thought about that for an extra long time, and it was a hard one to come by. What was the answer to the fact that he wasn't living his own life because of unconscious aggression? And he struggled with it, and the answer eluded him, and he thought he had it, and then he found out he didn't have it. Until something came to his mind, a story that he had read as a younger man, and he saw the solution, and it was quite amusing in a way, both amusing and yet very serious, because he was very intensely serious about not being a slave anymore to himself and to the world. And the story that he read prompted him to go back to his laboratory again, to the office, and sit down again and take a piece of paper and write on it 2 words. And he wrote the 2 words down. He looked at it, and he thought about it a little bit, looked at it again, and he knew he had the answer to recovering his own life. And those 2 words were, invisible man. That's it. I have to become an invisible man. Not physically, of course. That wasn't his field. Mentally, psychologically invisible. That's it. Now he understood aggression better. Wherever he went, are you connecting this with your life? Wherever he went, he did everything possible without realizing what he was doing it. He made himself as visible as possible. He began to see all the little tricks he played. Public, out among people, out among women, trying to impress people. He saw that as long as he could consider himself visible, that is the center of attention, if other people's fine, his own certainly, all the time, thinking about what other people are thinking about him, for example, keeping himself visible to himself as well as to other people. He began to think for a long time about that, and he saw that the one great solution was to make a daily effort to be invisible, which is the same thing as being non-aggressive.